Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today we have another exciting guest who's talking about another exciting campaign. He's from the great state of Illinois, a state I used to live in. His name is James Humay, and he's running for Board of Commissioners in Cook County. Welcome to the podcast, James.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
James, let us get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Sure. I'm a resident of Chicago, Illinois. I've pretty much lived in the Chicago area my entire life, and have been I would say I've been a libertarian since probably the late 1990s, but recently have gotten more involved with the party here locally in Cook County, as well as state and national, and have decided to actually run for county office here in Cook County, the commissioners of the first district on the Cook County board, and that's a district that kind of encompasses the west side of Chicago out through some of the west suburbs of Cook County, such as like Oak Park, Maywood, and Broadview.
So since your area covers Chicago, that's one of the major cities in the United States, so most people are familiar with that. With the rest of it, can you kindly describe the demographics of the county as a whole?
Sure. Of the county as a whole, well, I can kind of pinpoint a little bit better with the district that I'm running to represent. I think I can certainly start there, which I said encompasses a good portion of Chicago. Each one of the Cook County districts represents roughly 300,000 people, residents, which is a population greater than a lot of much larger geographic areas in other parts of the country, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The first district demographically is a little over 50% African American, with about another 20-25% Caucasian and then 20-25% Hispanic or Latino. So it's fairly diverse and fairly representative of a lot of areas in the city and Cook County.
Okay. Does it lean blue or red?
It is very blue. In fact, Cook County, for the most part, has been controlled by the Democratic Party for a very long time, more than 50 years, as long as I've been alive. Within the Board of Commissioners, I believe there are two Republicans, and the other 15 commissioners are all Democrats. The county board president is also a Democrat, Tony Preckwinkle. It's been a body that has been controlled by Democrats for a long time.
Oh my, it sounds like it. So kindly tell us, what are the responsibilities of the position as you see it?
So the Board of Commissioners, kind of the main focus is passing a budget for the county each year. And they pretty much decide on how much funding is going to be needed to run the business and or to run the county, and then they determine how they're going to appropriate those funds. So of course funds are brought into the county through taxation. And so the Board of Commissioners decides on taxes, tax rates, what is to be taxed, how much is to be taxed, and these are really kind of the main functions of the county board.
All right. So kindly tell us how you plan to implement your Libertarian Party vision in the race and in the position shall you get elected.
Sure. So, kind of piggybacking off the taxation, Cook County has the highest minimum sales tax of any county in the United States. Pretty much everything in the county, for the most part, is taxed. One of my goals or positions would be to eliminate sales taxes on as many essential goods and services as possible. Everything from gasoline to fuel, clothing, personal care products, things like diapers are taxed in Cook County. These are things that working people buy every day, and wherever I can relieve the tax burden of those people, I think is definitely a benefit to everyone who lives in Cook County.
Sure.
The other avenue of taxation is property taxes.
Okay.
And that is a pretty big issue in Cook County and in the city of Chicago. It's a main issue that people discuss, and we frequently hear about people complaining about their property taxes and how high they are. One of my positions would be to work to try to replace property taxes with land value taxes.
Okay.
And land value taxes make land speculation less profitable. It reduces incentives for gentrification, which is a kind of a big topic and talking point within the neighborhoods of Chicago, and fringe suburban developments, sprawling malls and fringe developments in some of the county Collar suburbs of Cook County. And shifting property taxes off of building values and onto land values will do things like make both the buildings and the land less expensive. It makes housing more affordable, which is another big issue in Chicago and Cook County. And it also fosters business growth and employment. So by removing the property tax and replacing it with a land value tax, it opens up a lot more opportunities for people to remain in their homes and to buy homes, as well as businesses to be able to maintain their properties and stay in business.
I haven't heard of that before. Land value tax, it's called?
Yes, land value taxes. There are a number of communities that have implemented land value taxes successfully, and I would really help shift some of the burden off of the taxpayers here in Cook County. Cook County has also had a reputation for corruption within the assessor's office, with favoritism and special treatment given to donors and businesses of the assessor's office. Replacing these property taxes with land value taxes would go a long way in kind of reducing the temptation for that corruption to occur as well.
Wow, it sounds like that can solve a multitude of problems.
It will start to address problems. Obviously, limiting the tax burden of the people of Cook County is my goal. And I think that this would be a good start and go a long way in reducing those taxes. Now, when you reduce taxes, you also have to start looking at ways to trim the budget of the county government. And so that would have to be kind of hand in hand to kind of reduce the amount of spending that goes on in order to balance out the tax revenue.
Sure, makes sense. So in addition to the fiscal things you mentioned, is there any other issues on your platform for a Cook County Commissioner?
Sure. So what really inspired me or motivated me to run for office in this election cycle were the mandates that were imposed in Chicago and Cook County. The mandates and lockdowns had a huge impact on businesses and families here in Cook County. Businesses were shut down. People were locked out of going to work. The impact on school children not being able to attend class is probably irreparable harm that cannot even start to be repaired. So the Cook County Board President should not have the unconstrained authority to shut down our lives and to shut down commerce. Any emergency powers must be limited in scope and duration and not automatically renewed without the consent of the county board.
So how long did they do it in Cook County? Was it for you said it was renewed without reconsent. So how long did they have the emergency order for in your area?
Well, I believe that there was no actual expiration time given. The county board president, enacted these lockdowns and mandates, and it would be at her discretion as to when they end. And that is, to me, that is unconstrained power that should not belong in the hands of any one individual.
Sure. So what is your campaign strategy for reaching the voters in Cook County?
My strategy is currently I am very active on social media, trying to get my message out there to the voters in my district. I'm also active in my local neighborhood community and getting out on the streets, meeting my neighbors, speaking to them, addressing them, talking to them, and most of all, listening to them. Finding out from them what their concerns are. A major issue amongst the voters in Cook County and Chicago is the rising crime rates. That's the number one thing I hear. That and property taxes. Those are probably the two biggest concerns that the voters in my district have.
You said rising crime rates?
Rising crime rates.
Interesting. So what do you attribute to the rising crime rates, and how would you plan on reducing them?
Sure. So, I believe there's a lot of factors that go into the crime rates. The lack of economic opportunities certainly is a large player in a cause of those crime rates. So, by improving the economic opportunities, such as reducing taxes, eliminating or reducing professional licensing requirements and fees. These are government obstacles that stand in the way of individuals and small community groups conducting business. That would go a long way in improving the economic opportunities. Now, as far as how to handle the increased crime rates, I'm a very strong advocate of the Second Amendment. Any more gun control laws that could be mandated in the county are not going to have much, if any, effect on crime. Prohibition does not work. It's been shown time and time again. And whether it's, alcohol, drugs, or guns, banning something only creates more criminals. So really the first thing we have to do, and to address crime from a libertarian perspective, is first and foremost protect victims' rights.
Interesting.
There are many cases of violent crimes being committed by people who are have already been indicted of a crime and are out on bail under court supervision or released on their own recognizance. I think if you are found to have been committed a crime, we have to protect the rights of those victims. Now, in addition to just punishing criminals, I believe that they should also pay restitution to their victims for any damage they've caused. That includes property, medical costs, pain and suffering. If they're the victim of a crime, criminals should fully compensate for that loss. I think that would go a long way.
So is that not, I'm sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Is that not sufficient in the current?
Yeah, I'll take a follow-up, sure.
Is that not sufficient in the current system, the restitution?
It is not. It is not. It is not sufficient. Okay. It is not. It is not part of the. It is not part of a criminal process. You could certainly sue someone in civil court, but criminals should fully compensate their victims.
Sure.
Ending the war on drugs, ending drug prohibition. This is here in Chicago. We know all about prohibition. We had Al Capone and the gangs of the 30s when alcohol was banned. We're seeing the same thing happen again because of the war on drugs. Drug prohibition inflates the costs of drugs. It leads users to have to commit crimes to support their high-priced habits. So ending that drug prohibition will go a long way in reducing crime rates. And the Libertarian Party is also a party of personal responsibility. Anyone who harms another person or their property should be held responsible for that action. The current Cook County State's Attorney has been under fire for not being tough on crime. And while our prisons are filled with nonviolent offenders, those that are committing the violent crimes are not serving full sentences because of overcrowding. And this all goes back to the war on drugs and victimless crime. If we're not imprisoning people for victimless crimes, we don't have to worry about overcrowded prisons for the violent offenders.
Makes sense.
We have to protect the right to self-defense, and this goes back to the Second Amendment. Cook County used to have extraordinarily high taxes to purchase ammunition or firearms. Thankfully, the Illinois Supreme Court, which is not really known for its conservative bent, found that those taxes were unconstitutional, and they infringed upon an individual's ability to defend themselves. After that ruling, the current county board president did make a statement in which she stated she would be looking into other ways to try to get around that ruling. So I would absolutely vote against any type of increased tax or fees that would hinder the ability for the citizens of Cook County to defend themselves. And we have to address the root cause of crime, which goes back to the economic development of the county. I believe communities know best what works for them. And most of the time, government gets in the way. So by removing barriers such as taxation, licensing, registration fees, this opens up more opportunities, especially in underserved communities, to have the opportunity for better economic growth.
Sure. So how do you feel about the death penalty as a deterrent for crime in Cook County?
The death penalty is not a deterrent, has shown never to be a deterrent, and I personally am opposed to the death penalty. It is not the position of the state to be able to take someone's life.
Okay. So for the
It's like gun control.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It's similar to gun control laws. The tougher penalties, even things like minimum sentencing. These have never proven to be a deterrent to crime. We need to make sure that violent criminals are prosecuted and serve their time, and that nonviolent offenders are not taking up room in prisons. When there are victimless crimes, we need to make sure that the prison population is made up of those violent offenders who are a danger to society, and not nonviolent offenders of victimless crime.
Sure. So for your campaign, are you running this yourself, or do you have a team helping you out?
I am, for the most part, running the campaign myself. I do have support of the Libertarian Party of Chicago.
That's good.
And we have some great members of the party that do offer advice and support. We are actually running in Cook County a full slate of countywide candidates. We're have candidates for sheriff, assessor, county clerk, county treasurer. So we all kind of help and support each other. Cook County Board President as well, and 3 Libertarians running for county commissioner districts. We were fortunate in 2020 to have a candidate, Brian Dennehy, who ran for Cook County State's Attorney and was able to get nearly 8% of the vote, which granted us ballot access in Cook County, making it much easier for the Libertarian Party to get on the ballots in the first place. So we are working hard to make sure that we get our message out there to the voters of Cook County, that we can maintain that ballot access so that the voters have a choice and they don't just see a Democrat on the ballot and have no other option but to vote for them.
Sure, that's awesome. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there is we're at a kind of a unique crossroads where a lot of voters are kind of waking up to the idea that one party rule is not benefiting them, and we can send a message to the kind of the democratic machine that's controlled the government for so many years by voting them out, voting for another option, letting them know that their ironclad hold on the county is not to be anymore. And that's kind of the best way to send a message to those currently in power.
Yes, that would be a great way to send a message. So for our audience out there, how can they support your campaign?
So the best way to support my campaign, like any other campaign, is to make a contribution.
Okay.
Like anything else, it takes funds to get that message out there. And while this is a grassroots campaign and a on the ground type of messaging, It still is going to take some funds to be able to, to reach those 300,000 or so people that vote that live in the first district in Cook County. Humay for Liberty, Humay, number 4, Liberty, Liberty. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's probably the best way to follow my campaign. If you follow me on social media, you'll see links to be able to donate and support the campaign any way you can. If you're a resident of Cook County, could always use volunteers. We need folks to, knock on doors and hand out pamphlets and materials and really get the message out on the ground here in Cook County and the first district in particular.
Sounds like a plan. James, thank you kindly for coming on the podcast today and talking about your exciting campaign and the exciting things you are doing in Cook County.
I appreciate having me on the show, and thanks for allowing me to talk about my campaign and get my message out there to your listeners.
Of course, that's what we're here for. So we wish you all the best in your campaign and all your other personal and career endeavors.
Thanks, Andrew.
Take care.
You too.